coming up just ahead over there.
Are you scared of the dark?
Absolutely. Yeah. But I'm with my friends. I'm okay.
Field of Geeks presents
The Super Unknown.
Hello and welcome to The Super Unknown. I'm Josh.
I'm Juan.
I'm Megan.
I'm Stephanie.
We have guests on today. Welcome. Megan, of course, from Field of Geeks. And I don't know if you want to plug your TikTok or anything like that right now or later.
Well, yeah, we can do it later.
Okay, that's fine. And then Steph, she's from a new show. This is my wife, by the way. What are we watching now? Or no, what are we watching? She always say now. It's what are we watching? We haven't done it yet, that's why. The show, that is. I have kids. Anyway, you blushing? No, we're going to cover Thanksgiving on that first episode.
No,
so.
We're not. No.
Shit. I like it really pressure you.
No.
Good thing it's not live, but.
Oh, the movie Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Yes.
See?
It's not happening.
All right.
Why?
It looks so, no. Maybe once it's like out and I'm at my house, but not at the theater.
Okay.
Maybe.
Watch it with the family. Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Next Thanksgiving, as we eat, we'll watch the movie.
Yeah.
So, cool. Well, Dave, of course, is still out on assignment. I mean, he was ready to, actually came over last week, didn't get the message, we canceled. And
He's
got
lost
the
in the
candle.
woods somewhere.
Yes, he's lost in the woods, so he will be back. Obviously, Thanksgiving weekend we're doing this, so he's got obligations. We had our 5th meal yesterday, I think, so we're good to go. Third.
You guys still got leftovers?
Yeah.
Winning.
We have some turkey left in ham.
Yeah.
That's about all the sides are gone though.
And chicken from Walmart.
My mom went out. Yes. Top grade stuff.
Did you guys all have a good Thanksgiving? I know you did, because I was involved, but what about you guys?
Yeah, mine was actually unexpected. My mom and my family went out of town. I did not want to go out of town this year. So when I came home, I was actually just going to go and grab something. And then my roommate was like, hey man, we made you a plate. And then because he was out of town.
Oh, okay.
So I wasn't anticipating him to do it. He was in India.
Oh, wow.
Jeez.
So I wasn't I didn't know when he was coming back.
Right.
So I wasn't expecting him to be there. And
Yeah.
then him and his girlfriend, they
Oh, special.
yeah.
That's
So
cool.
that it panned out better. So I wasn't expecting that. So it was awesome.
Out of curiosity, where would you get some food on that day? What's open?
Quick start.
Oh, so the gas stations are open. I guess movie theaters are too. I'd be happy to go
That's
to the
better than
theater.
Quick Star
Walmart.
has everything.
Yeah, they do.
Quick Start does
Cinnamon
have
rolls. They're actually called Quick Trip outside of Iowa. They can't.
That's
We
what I
called
heard.
here, yeah, because
That's
we
what-
stopped at one in Minnesota. I'm like, wait a minute.
Our
Start.
quick trip in Iowa starts with a Q.
Yes.
Just for people out there.
Yeah. It's
The other
cool.
one around the country now, I'm assuming, it
Yeah.
starts with a K.
Yeah.
And they got everything. Yes.
Quick.
Including chicken, right? And you probably eat that chicken over
And
Walmart.
potatoes.
I would eat that chicken over.
Yeah.
You can buy a big bag of potatoes. It's actually cheaper there. And we just bought a bag. That's why I said that.
Nice.
Nothing against your chicken, Walmart. If you guys want to sponsor us,
Sure.
just I don't eat chicken from certain places. It's not anything personal.
It's just because they're cute and we don't want to eat chicken.
Yeah, that's it. I'm
Yeah.
gonna roll with that story.
Yep.
Let's do that.
Yep. Absolutely.
How was you guys' Thanksgiving?
Good.
That's fine. Yeah.
Good. A lot of great food.
I had fun last night. We played Uno at my mom's and
I
it
won.
was hilarious.
Played what?
He won one game. He's never won. He hates
And I wanted to
Uno.
quit.
And
What
we
game?
didn't play
Uno.
Uno.
Oh.
Well, she did a whole batch of different cards, which
Yeah, we played. We put in
was not happy
Uno
at first.
All Wilds.
I was
We
gonna
put
ask
that
that.
in with like Uno Flip. So Uno Flip has this card that if you play it, the person has to draw until they get the color you chose.
No.
So like I played it against my mom like the first round and she had to draw like I don't know like 24 cards in her hand.
No.
Do you really win?
He did win that one finally.
Yeah, I'm usually, I definitely called Uno this time because the kids just jump on me and I'm like, yes, because I didn't know the rule.
Well, also when we first played with him, like years ago, he thought when you got to one card, you won because that's Uno. You have Uno.
Oh.
And
I flipped the
he's
table.
like, I fucking hate this game.
I would never say that.
Yeah, it was funny. But we even got him like a Star Trek set one time for Christmas to be like, hey, look, it's your own set. You can play with
I threw the
it.
cards away and kept the tin it came in. No.
But
So,
it has some really weird.
Did you write down the date, the time,
Right.
Of last
the
night?
moment, or when you won?
Not exactly, but I'll just remember which one.
Was there
Yeah.
confetti? Was it?
No, not at all. I wanted to quit too. I'm like, I should just end
like, I'm
here.
done.
And you're like, no.
No, we're playing.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. Don't
How
play
about
that.
Megan? How was your Thanksgiving?
Oh, it was good. Not a whole lot to talk about there.
No cooking? You have to cook or anything?
No, we go to my grandparents and they do the cooking. I'll bring like a side dish,
Sweet.
but no, we don't do cleanup.
Yes.
No, we just, well, you wouldn't want us to stay for cleanup because by the time we get done eating, my 3-year-old is ready to destroy.
Yeah.
So we have to leave shortly.
Right.
And paper plate. Aren't those the best? I even use those outside of holidays.
My grandparents used to dishwash their plastic cups, their soda cups.
They did. Yeah. They don't melt. They
And my grandma would have lipstick stains from.
Some of the red cups.
Yeah. The red solo cup.
They put them in the top rack. I'm
I
like,
saw a
what's the
short of
point?
that recently.
Yeah.
Margot Robbie,
Oh,
actress, she says that they don't have that in Australia. So when she comes to the
solo
States,
cups?
they don't have red cups.
Oh.
So she takes a shit ton back to Australia, and all her friends, they throw parties because they're like, you Americans have the best cups. I'm
What's the
like,
hatred
I
with
wonder
red?
why.
It's just blood and they don't like
Yeah.
the color?
they just don't have red cups. Or they just don't have those plastic cups. They don't produce them out of them.
Weird.
Well, it's probably smart because they're
Yeah.
very wasteful. But
Yeah.
And usually you do have to get the solo brand because
Sydney
you
looks
get the
cleaner.
cheap ones, they break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sydney, Australia looks a lot cleaner than a lot of places. in the
Yeah, that's
States.
probably why. Yeah.
It looks a
Get your
lot.
cups out of here.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously Thanksgiving, you're thankful for a lot of things. Thankful we got 3 episodes in this year. So
Yes.
far, 'cause we only did 1 last year, so we're on a roll.
That's
We're
what
back in the
they're
game,
for.
We can quit now. No, I'm kidding. We're
Back
quit.
in the
We're gonna
game.
keep going. Megan's got 2 more topics later on. Not in this episode, but down the road. Spoiler, Megan has brought the topic of today's episode.
Is this the
So-
3rd or 4th episode of the year?
3rd.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Get
was
champagne
thinking
for the
maybe
next
it was your
one.
4th, so.
I don't know. We probably fit. Oh yeah, we'll fit a couple more in before the end of the year, I'd say.
I'm not. I mean, I'll be here until the last week of December.
Cool. Well, we'll do it.
So
And
we're
then we're gonna
good.
do our show. What are we watching? Not what are we watching now. And we're gonna cover right?
Oh my god.
I think I might start, maybe we'll put it out the first part of 2024.
You think so? Yeah, I probably should. Yeah.
Let's start
I'll,
fresh.
yeah. I'll
He
try
does
to get
have
it
to
watch theater by then.
That's
So.
fine.
He has to watch Commando.
That's okay.
That's for Field Geeks at the movies.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know what place we'll
We
put
need
it
to do
in,
that too. Yeah.
but he must watch it.
Okay, we'll watch it.
Fine.
We'll
The
watch it.
ridiculousness of it.
No, we'll watch it for sure.
Does he have to go Commando at the same time as he's watching Commando?
If he does,
Because, I mean,
we don't want that on camera.
I love editing. Editing's so nice.
Yes, we can put a table and show.
Oh, how weird.
I think I made you go
I'll just wear
Commando.
one of those muscle
You
shirts.
need to go Commando once to work because, I haven't washed any underwear.
What the hell are you talking about?
That must have been the day that you weren't performing very
It
well.
was.
yeah.
He's like, this is fucked up.
Commando.
You act like I talk like some kind of.
He does.
This is fucked up. I just always watch the zipper of the Something About Mary.
Right?
I can't get that out of my
The beans
head.
above the...
That's so terrible.
How'd you get the beans above the...
Oh, so bad. Just like pulling off a Band-Aid. 1, 2. You got a bleeder. So yes, Megan, for a long time now, we talked about you coming on because you have a lot of interesting unknowns in your family.
That just sounds weird. There's a lot of unknowns in her family.
Oh well,
That sounds like-
this is a super unknown.
It's
That's what I meant.
You have a weird family. Did you not know that?
I do.
Well, your family's fucked up.
Yeah, my
How you
family's-
say it? Okay.
Pretty superstitious, but then also I think there's just a long line of just spiritual connections that I think this generation is like learning how to tap into and understanding it more. But for a long time, it was just stories,
Yeah.
things that would get told to us, and like, oh, that's interesting. But I think a lot of people from my grandparents' generation probably have stories like that. But
Sure.
this is just like a long, like, line of things. We're like, well, that's weird. Why didn't anybody question that?
Right.
And we're also just very weird too. So there's that.
Love it.
Yeah. But I actually recently discovered this. I don't know if it was last year or maybe towards the beginning of this year, and it's called the third person phenomenon, or I think you also said it was third person fact.
Yeah, I found Factor, but that could have
Sure.
been from that book.
Sure. Well, mine was a TikTok, so it was a phenomenon. So I don't know, but I didn't really understand what that was. But I could apply it to something that had happened to me when I was a teenager. So when I was a teenager, I was in a car accident. Definitely my fault, just in case anybody wants to research that. And I had a full, I had a full car, and one individual did not have their seatbelt on. But everybody was okay,
Yeah.
minor injuries, nobody was like drastically injured. But I remember being a teenager, because I think I just turned 16, like panicking. I couldn't get out of my car. The car was smoking because the doors had like buckled, so we had to all get out the other way. When I woke up, somebody was like face down on the console that was right there. But I had like put my hand out so that person didn't go forward.
Good instincts. Yeah.
Right. Well, and I think we just do that instinctual anyway.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
You hope so, right?
I don't know. Yeah, we hope it wouldn't, they wouldn't, go.
That's how you
through
filter
your
out the asshole.
Yeah.
You're an asshole.
It's like the mom thing, like even
Yeah.
before you're a mom, I feel like
Sure.
you're just like you see your parents do it, so then
Did we have airbags in this car? Or?
Yes.
Oh, we did.
Yeah, it was like a Dodge Neon.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
this is early 2000s.
Those were very popular. Yeah.
Anyways, when I had gotten out of the vehicle, I ran, adrenaline hit me, ran to the other car, made sure they were okay, went back to my group of people. They were kind of in the ditch. Everybody's like trying to like gather their thoughts, figure out what just happened. And I remember going back to the vehicle, and this gentleman came up to me. Now, he had walked from across the street where there were people starting to gather over there, and he had come over to me, and he had put his coat on me, and he kept saying, everything's going to be okay. You're going to be all right. Just kind of really calming, really reassuring, and I'm being not hysterical, but just, kind of dramatic. I'm obviously very upset. Not about myself, but about the others, right? The other people that I may have affected. And then I just remember him saying, okay, well, I have to go now. And he took his coat back and he walked to what he said I had to go now, and I asked him why, and he said because the emergency crews are coming. And I watched him walk, but then I don't remember where he went. Like, he just walked. And I don't remember where he walked to. So then, fast forward a little bit, it's a couple hours later, maybe it was the next day, and I remember telling my parents about it, and they were like, oh, well, anytime that you have a traumatic event like that, your brain kind of comes in and tries to comfort you or make things up that aren't actually there. And then I'd ask my friends and my siblings, because it was my siblings that were in the car, hey, did you see that gentleman? Nobody saw that gentleman but me. Just me. Nobody saw them, which I thought was odd. So I kind of went in line with the fact that maybe it was just my brain, but I couldn't let it go. And I think to this day I still haven't let it go. Because I do know that there is scientific evidence that says that your brain can and maybe does do that. But it happens to a lot of people in events like this, sometimes more traumatic than my own. And I don't know that can be proven by science. It just seemed too real at the time. Anyways, I then told my grandma the story, and she goes, oh, well, your great-grandmother had an experience too, again, not traumatic, where they were off onto the side of the road. This is, I don't know, early 40s maybe, and their car had stopped working, and some gentleman kind of appeared out of nowhere, fiddled with something in the engine, and then he said, okay, you're good to go now. And they went to go start the car, and then that person was gone. Isn't that crazy? And that's not traumatic. They just showed up out of nowhere. And then Fast forward again to a couple of years later after my accident, my brother was in an accident and he actually rolled his car into a ditch. And he also said that there was someone who showed up. It was a gentleman, opened the door, because it was rolled, so it was on its top, opened the door to allow him and his friends to get out. Again, nobody saw this individual but my brother, but he was able to describe him in a very similar fashion to the way I described him. So I think it's really hard to then say that he's just making that up or copying it, because there are certain things that you just feel and experiences that you can't really emulate or copy.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so it just kind of followed our family around. A gentleman each time described a very similar way. So then it makes you wonder, is that your person that's watching over your family? Is that a past family member? Like, who is that?
Right.
So, but then, like I said, there are other stories too. People have described another individual showing up in car accidents, showing up. I think we talked about, there was a group of climbers and they were having trouble finding their way back. They were stranded and there were 4 people in the group, I think. There is that story out there. You can Google it. And they said there was a 5th person with them the whole time. But that fifth person, their entire job was to be positive, right? And so when this person shows up, their job is to be positive, to keep you moving, to keep you going. So, I don't know.
Wow.
Interesting.
That's
Thoughts?
so trippy. Well, like with your brother's incident, did his friends like assume that he opened the door and they just kind of followed him out?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's a good question. I never really answered that question, or asked him that question. I don't know. I don't know that anybody would have thought that at that time, because you have so much adrenaline when an accident occurs that you just you don't see things in sequence.
Right.
So.
Yep. I've been there, but not that traumatic. But I've been rear-ended before, and then I had front damage, but I had no recollection if I hit the car in front of me. Like minor things. I had no one. I wish I had a person like that to be like, hey, report this on the police report so you can get your car fixed in the front. So you get a credit card and go in the debt. But no, not as dramatic.
I've had other accidents. I was T-boned not that long ago. Didn't show up there. Yeah. So. Right. I don't know. Then, is it your brain? It's possible.
Now, I have a question. In the description that you have, is it the same description as your brother's? The same description as your grandmother's situation?
The same person each time.
Basically, that's what I'm trying to see, because it's a guy. We clarified it's a man, but not necessarily, so we know it's not a woman. So I'm saying, is he wearing a trench coat in all of them, or is he dressed similar in their description?
So I don't remember the coat that they were wearing. The only variance between my story and their story is that I recall this gentleman wearing a ball cap, but my grandmother's story and my brother's story said that they were wearing like a fedora hat. Okay. So that's the only variance between the two, or between my story and their story, but still a hat. I don't really remember facial features. I think that the stature is the same, so just very upright, very shoulder, just proper stature. Sure. And just the demeanor in terms of what they were there to do, which was to be calm and positive and uplifting.
I guess my question would be more like, okay, is all three, like, is the guy Asian, or is he a midget? Is he, you know what I'm saying? Like,
use that word.
Little person.
Peter Dinklage was my man.
Little person.
Right. I recall him being Caucasian. Yeah. But then again, and this is where you can tap into this realm. I think that if it is a spiritual entity, that spiritual entity is going to appear in a way that's not intimidating or scary to you, right?
Right. So you can identify.
Right.
Yeah.
So
like what you are.
Right. So in my mind, they were Caucasian and had a ball cap, but they were also Caucasian for my brother and my grandmother as well, but a difference in hat. But I think that when you tap into other stories, some people recall seeing a female and the female had long hair. Some people recall seeing. So I think it does try to identify with you. That's a
Something
really good
comforting
question.
to you.
Well, I'm saying,
Yeah.
the other stories I can understand. I'm saying within your family.
Oh yeah.
So because
I don't know.
my natural thought is it's someone within your bloodline,
Somebody from the past.
someone in your bloodline. So like it could be your great grandfather. It could have been your grandmother's grandfather. If we were to go down that rabbit hole, if we were to go down that direction, because usually in a lot of spiritual practices, they say that the people that help you are the people that are part of your lineage, because they understand it, because they're within your blood.
Yeah.
So they're directly connected to you. Compared to Joe Smo, that's why I was like, okay, is he Asian?
Right.
Right.
Because then it could be, let's just say he was, right? There could have been an individual who symbolizes something to your family. So it could have been this Asian man on this show or this play that your grandmother identified with, and then she taught you and your brother. I'm just giving hypotheticals, where it's like, okay, we all are connected with understanding that individual.
Yeah.
So those are the kind of questions I like to ask.
Your brain and its survival instincts, maybe it could conjure up like an imaginary, like in your subconscious, like something you wouldn't, I guess really come to your mind. Like, yeah, let me think of that. It's just like it just did it, but there's so many possibilities. I mean, that's what's great about it. It's a mystery, It's a
I
mystery.
think if they did come from our line, it was definitely from a long time ago, because it wasn't anybody that we recognized or could say, hey, this is so-and-so. But so my grandmother's family is originally from Illinois. And when the event occurred with my great-grandmother, they were living in Illinois. The only reason why we're in Iowa is because my grandmother married my grandfather, and he's from Zering, Iowa. So I think maybe, and I know that fedora hats are everywhere, but I think the description seemed like somebody that may have been from the Chicago area with a fedora hat.
Yeah.
But
Not a hipster.
yeah, no.
Yeah, monocle.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Yeah.
It's possible. I don't think we've ever looked into who that might be.
No family albums, like just a.
We do, but you have to remember that. So I just recently went through, because Pops had passed in July, and so we were going through some old photos.
Yeah.
Their family is pretty extensive. You're going back to like 15 kids in total.
Right. Yeah,
so it's
true,
really hard to determine
Needle in a
who's.
haystack.
Yeah. So I don't. That's a really good thing, and maybe I'll bring that up. When I see my grandmother next. But gosh, I don't know.
Like
We've never
seen that, like,
thought about
Look
that.
your pictures and be like, that guy has a fedora on.
Oh, right.
It's
That's
from,
who that is.
Way
Well,
back,
Then the next question would be like, is there someone like your grandmother, for example, because she's the eldest of the bunch that had this experience. Is she over spiritual? Let me clarify that. Is she a nun? Is she like? Does she see herself as a Wiccan? Does she? I'm just giving you ideas. Is there Native American blood lineage in there?
There is, but
so,
from my grandfather's side. So there is. And for her,
what, your grandfather that was married to your grandmother?
yes. So they had experiences long before they were married. But my grandmother says that there were, or believes that there may have been, I don't know which is a good term, but I think it's pagan, right? Pagan is a spiritual.
Yeah.
There were some pagans somewhere in their line this long before me or her, because it was my great-grandmother, so it was her mother that had that experience. So I don't know specifically where they were practicing that, probably before my grandmother and my great-grandmother, so probably further back. But she says that. I don't know.
Right.
I think what my side of the family, or my father's side of the family, is just pretty open spiritually, but just open in general. And so I was always taught that to have these experiences, you kind of have to have your third eye open, or to see things, you have to be open to those things existing, or you don't see them. if that makes sense. And that's not just with this specific type of phenomenon, but I mean shadow people or ghosts
Yeah.
or just different spiritual entities. You have to be open to that in order to experience that.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. It's the concept, the way I would like to explain it is, think of everyone has a radio. Okay? Every single person on the planet has a radio. So what they're looking for is the frequency, but they have an old school radio where it's like, you know, where it's going through all these different things, right?
Yeah.
And they're going through all these different.
Anybody young has no idea what you're talking about, right?
Yeah. I'm dating myself.
Tuners.
Anybody in
Yeah,
their
so
20s are like, what?
so-
I know.
Once upon a time, a long time ago, for our younger viewers, you had to, in order
Write
to
this down.
find your favorite radio station, and it might have a cassette player too. Ooh, right?
That's a whole other show.
8-track, even more. Right? My grandfather had one of those, right? Well, to find your radio station, you had to tune it to find the right frequency. So my belief is everyone has that radio.
Yeah.
Now, based upon personal beliefs and things like that, they may not acknowledge that they have a radio.
Exactly.
So, let alone, so if you don't even acknowledge it, how would you turn it on? You know?
Yeah.
So then, now the people who are on the frequency, they can upgrade to a more advanced radio where it's like, oh, okay, I need to go to this station. Oop, it's a preset.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. The spiritually inclined are more likely to address it that way. They're not special.
Exactly.
They just choose to access their radio.
Yeah.
So the story you're saying is pretty interesting because it sounds like someone within your bloodline is trying to making sure that your guys are protected.
Yeah.
So I don't know what kind of deal or something within your past where someone could have been like, hey, I want to always look after my family. So that to me is not far-fetched because regardless of people's personal belief systems, I think we all can agree that energy exists and we're big balls of it.
And I love that. I love that you say that.
Yeah, so energy doesn't die, it only changes form.
Yeah. Yeah.
By just science. That's just, it's not a guess. So
Right.
across the board, we agree with that. So that energy is prolonged through you because it took your mom and your dad to come together to make you. It took your mom's dad and your mom's mom to come together to make her, and so on and so on and so on, and so on and so on and so on and so on. So they're all
Yeah.
make you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So someone possibly up there
Yeah.
is like, oh, shit, she's in trouble. Let me go help and make her feel
Like a phone operator in the back of the day.
blah, 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 because I made this agreement
Fedora Freddy.
before I moved on to the next plane.
Yeah.
I made this agreement for my bloodline,
Yeah.
right? And saying, hey, I'm always going to be there for you guys. And if it's coming off of your grandfather's side, your grandmother's husband, she would be protected under that too,
Sure.
because
Sure.
they become a unit once they become married.
Sure.
They become one unit. So it's just where my brain goes.
So many other.
This is BS. This could be
It's a
BS,
big
guys.
fork in the road. You
It's
can
just how my brain
I don't
processes
think it
things.
is, though. I think that I mean, there's many different ways to put it the way that you put it, but I think that the end result is the same. There's this lady I follow on TikTok. She goes by the Belinsky Experience. Maybe you guys know her. She's the redhead. She's the medium. Now mediumship. I know there's a lot of like gray area there.
Oh, yeah.
People either believe it or they don't, or they're hesitant.
They're not the same as psychics, right? They're a little
Well,
different.
she says that they're all the same.
Okay.
So she
Which I can see that
she
too,
says she
so,
doesn't
yeah.
understand the difference between a medium and a psychic or an evidential psychic medium.
Right.
She says it's all the same, but what she teaches and what she tries to teach is that we're all energy, like you just said, and that we all can tap into this experience. We just have to know the tools to do so. And so anybody could do it. Anybody could do what she does, she says. So I kind of like that idea, excuse me. as I lose my voice. But I think I think that that's spot
Well,
on.
the concept of spiritual practice, I'll simplify it. It's the principles. It's not what vehicle a person chooses to drive to get them to the enlightenment that they seek is upon person. Like, this person wants a Lamborghini, this person wants a Honda. I don't know. This person wants a scooter. I don't care how you get there. My belief is everyone graduates. So, that being said, if you have, let's say I have a guy, I have 5 guys, and you guys might not, and you might not do
Hungry. You say 4 guys?
No, 5 guys. I need 5, right? And so I have 5 guys. Now I do martial arts for whatever it's worth, right?
That's cool.
So that's the analogy of me.
I watch it.
Right. Exactly. Like MMA, mixed martial arts, UFCs is how some of my friends say.
Do my moves when I watch it.
Yeah. Yeah. Right? So I have one guy, he's a wrestler. I have one guy, he knows Muay Thai kickboxing. I got another guy, he's a boxer. I got another guy, he knows jiu-jitsu. I know another guy, he knows taekwondo. I'm gonna touch you if that's okay.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
fine.
Boom. That doesn't bother you, does it?
No.
One more, right?
Yeah. I mean, you could punch me and I wouldn't be bothered by it.
Right? But see, now when I put them all together, that makes it worse. Whereas me poking you has little to any effect on you. So to me, someone saying, okay, I'm a pagan, I'm a Christian, I don't know, a Scientologist.
Vegan.
Doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
It to me, it's like, is your final destination? Or, well, Tom Cruise. I'm Tom Cruise. I'm John Travolta. No.
Oh my God.
All right. Well, to me, it's just like, okay, that's your approach
Yeah.
to fighting.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's your base style. So if I'm doing mixed martial arts, MMA, and like, if you ever watch the sport, a lot of guys, they don't have it as much anymore because it's now a more recognized sport. But previously, this guy came from the wrestling world. This guy came from the kickboxing world. This guy came from the boxing world or whatever, or jiu-jitsu world. And we're going to see who's got the best style. But the guy who incorporates wrestling, the guy who incorporates jiu-jitsu and MMA, all are Muay Thai all together, is the more dangerous person. So when I look at spirituality, I'm like, okay, when someone says, I'm this, I'm like, oh, okay, that's your base style, your base form.
Yeah, yeah.
Like Dragon Ball Z or something, right?
Right.
You know, that's your base style. Now, what do you do with that? That technique may be unique. This person says, I do voodoo. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know, like it's just your approach to it. Does it get you where you need to go? And are you enforcing your techniques on others? That's where that's the only time I had an issue.
So that's really interesting that you say that, and there's a lot of truth to what you're saying too, which tells me that you've obviously done a lot of your own work. It's where you go at the end of things is all, like you said, that's the vessel that's going to carry you there. But really, it's all the same on the other side. So if you believe in Allah, that's still okay. You're still going to get to that higher plane. It's really about the energy, right? It's really about what you're talking about, like your spiritual journey. If you are in a lower vibration, right? So it's all about energy and vibration. If you're in a lower vibration and you're a pagan, when you pass on, you're going to go to a lower vibration. That doesn't mean that when you pass on, you can't get out. You just got to do the work that needs to be done. And sometimes there are people over there that'll help you do the work that needs to get done. But if you pass on and you're at a higher vibration, guess what? That's where you're going to go.
Yeah.
And they talk about those people being, when they come through, being a ball of light. Right? They're a ball of light when they come through because they're in a higher vibration.
Yeah.
When they're in a lower vibration, how do they come through? Dark, right? They come through darker. I've seen that too. Now, I'm not a medium, so I can't see it the way that she sees it.
Yeah.
But I do see things in dreams, and I've had encounters in dreams where that
I would argue
individual...
that you are medium.
Oh, well,
Whoa.
maybe I'll go through her class. She does
Twist.
teach. I have had people who have passed on that have come to me in a dream, and I couldn't see them. It was completely black. Now, I didn't know what that meant
Yeah.
until
You said completely black?
yeah, it was dark. I
So
couldn't see anything.
So, if we were to use titles, I'm not trying to cut you off.
Oh, no, you're fine.
If we're using titles, you say clairvoyance, which is being able to see spirit, for lack of a better way of saying
Yeah.
it. Then you may be similar to what I consider myself to be clairaudio.
Okay.
I can hear it better than I can see it. Like my eyes, it's like Daredevil. I can,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and what we do sometimes is we submit to it. And that's not always a smart decision, in my opinion.
Sure.
What I mean by that is, oh, great, blah, blah, blah.
Sure.
Hear my cries, whatever. Whereas I'm like, oh, you Uncle Larry. you ain't that special. I mean, you're special, but you're cousin
Yeah.
Troy. Yeah. Oh, okay. What? Hey, man.
Yeah.
What's going on? I'm like, I don't talk down to them or put them on a pedestal. I say, and that's where you'll get a lot of people. They're like, oh, wise one. Da, da, da.
Yeah.
I see it as like it's an even playing field. They're just the guys on the other side. We will all get to the other side because there's one thing for certain: we will pass away one day.
Yeah.
So we will all get there. It's inevitable. So knowing that, they're the most familiar
Yeah.
with where we came from. So like somebody's like, all right, they'll pray to a higher power for money, we'll say. Well, if you're asking an entity, heck, we can use Jesus or Allah. We'll use, I won't use that. I will use
Genie.
Genie.
Aladdin.
Someone
Will
who
Smith.
Will Smith
Slap
or
my face.
or Sinbad.
Yes, Sinbad.
He never was in that.
Or was he?
I'll show you a video later.
Okay.
Anyways, and so whoever it is, you're calling on that entity, and we submit to them. But to me, like if you're calling on an entity who we can say, for the most part, never really touched the plane, they don't know what rent is. They don't know.
Right.
They don't know what groceries are.
Yeah.
Whereas Aunt Sue knows your struggles.
Yeah.
So you're better off asking Aunt Sue.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You know. So
I'm sorry.
so
Thank you.
when you describe what your situation was, it sounds like if we were to indulge in this idea, it sounds like somebody within your lineage that has made an agreement to look after you guys.
Yeah. Yep.
And
Badass.
and it's not so much about fear. Fear won't serve you. The only way you defeat fear is by facing it. So what it may be more about like, okay, maybe gratitude, thank you for being there for me when I needed you, because you were 16. And so if you were 16, yeah, your brain's more fragile. It's more still developing. You're still learning about who you are and what you are. So you definitely may have needed that now.
Yeah.
In that moment. Now you are an adult, so you have now built up certain things, and you're like, okay,
What do
I
I do?
can handle this moment now.
You like
So-
Sarah Connor.
Right. So you,
That.
Oh, you too. You
How
trained
old
yourself.
was your brother when he got in his accident? Was he young also?
Yeah. I mean, so
he was in
we're-
his teens.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. We're a couple years apart.
And then was the great grandma or whatever? Was
I
she
don't know
also
how she-
like young when she got help?
She was younger, not a teenager though.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how she was. Oh, how old she was.
Well, there's also a different time period, though.
Yeah.
So, like you said,
Before I was even born.
well, like 50s.
I think,
Yeah,
yeah.
something like that.
So we could just take it as very simple. They didn't have interweb.
Yeah, they didn't have,
They
anybody
didn't
to
have cell
call anybody
phones.
and-
They would
So-
have had to walk.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
conditions of her time period may have been more suitable for her situation compared to you guys having access to, hey, officer, an accident, or blah, blah, blah.
And it was nighttime too, and in Illinois, so.
And no
imagine.
one was there
Yeah.
to save her.
It was a
Yeah.
nighttime with you and your brother, their accidents?
My brother's was at night, mine was during the day.
Oh, it was, okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy, because I just pictured your whole story of like, it was misty out, it was dark.
Oh,
really?
no,
Yeah.
not.
During the
No.
day, that's even more interesting because it's like, there's light on the subject in a
No.
way, right?
Yeah, nobody
But
saw.
Not soon. That's the other thing,
That's
which I think is
crazy.
just,
Yeah.
and we can move off this topic here, but I think that there is a misconception that only things can happen at night, but they can happen at any time of the day.
right, I think because it's always
Yeah.
scary.
Scarier at
yeah,
night, I
yeah,
think so.
yeah.
Yeah. But I will say that I think, I don't know that anyone, and I know that you weren't implying this, I don't know that what this is makes anyone, special per se, but I think that the more that we don't talk about it openly,
Right.
the more it becomes kind of like that, where maybe I'm something that someone else isn't.
Right.
And the reason I say that,
Explain that better. I'm sorry.
yeah, no, I think it could lead then to someone saying, "Oh, I must be a witch," or "I must be."
Giving you
Right.
a title.
Yes, and then taking that and then maybe applying it to we're worshiping something, right?
Because no one's relating to you.
Right, 'cause
basically,
no one's
right?
relating
Even
to
though
me.
probably they
Yes.
secretly are, but they don't want to come
Because
out.
nobody
Right.
talks about
Right,
it.
right, exactly. Yep.
Which is where I think that comes
Right.
in.
Yeah.
Or some people do it anyways, but I think that the
Right.
less that we talk about it, the more that we feed that type of ideology.
Sure. Yeah.
Which is why I'm happy that people are coming out. People on TikTok are coming out and talking about these experiences, which
Yeah.
is my exposure to it. But I will tell you that Mitch, hopefully he doesn't mind me sharing this, he probably won't, from Field of Geeks, I had shared with him, same with you guys, about a couple dreams that I've had, where I'm like, I don't know what to do with this information, but it
Yeah.
was clearly information that was being
Yeah.
given to me. And it was actually really nice because Mitch came back and said, oh yeah, I've had experiences like that too. I wouldn't have known that Mitch had that experience
Right.
had I not talked to him.
Right. Right.
So I think it's good that we do talk about these things. I don't think they're experiences, and we should just take them as that and then apply them how we want to apply them. But not talking about it or not
Right.
saying it doesn't exist doesn't do anybody any good.
And I think it's comforting when people share things like that, just to maybe come forward and say, look, I don't have the answers. I don't know what is going on. I think a lot of people like to make it facts. Like,
They
this
do
is
that in
this
the
and that.
medical field too, though.
Yeah, yeah.
They will openly say, especially with hospice nurses. So my mom is in hospice. She does hospice part-time. And she knows that there's a lot of things she sees a lot of things
Yep.
get said. They don't understand.
Yeah.
They don't know what it is.
Right.
But it's there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My grandma recently had a heart attack and...
Sorry to hear that.
Oh, no, it's okay. I'm that person that doesn't upset me because if they pass on, I know that there's another side. So that stuff doesn't
right.
bother me. But
Yeah.
one of the doctors came in and the first thing they asked her was, "Did you see Jesus?" Because they hear that a lot.
Yeah.
So when they bring people back who've had heart attacks, did you see Jesus? Did you see the white light? Because that's
Yep.
very common. Anyways, we can.
No, I want to
No.
ask you a
Oh yeah.
question. Do you believe that the reason why people, and this question's for all you guys, do you believe possibly the reason why people don't come out with that kind of information or share that part of themselves is because the platform isn't there for them? So what I'm saying is there's no where do I present this where
Like,
people
they're already
wanna-
telling you, like,
Yeah.
did you see Jesus? So it's like, if I said I saw something else.
No.
Oh,
Step
okay.
back. That's
Okay.
that's the next
Just
one.
in general, like it's kind of
Just like she was saying that,
Yeah.
like, okay, saying this type of stuff, like you learned about Mitch, and
Yeah.
saying this stuff, and he kept that inside,
Yeah.
and you evidently gave him a place where he could release this.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of times people don't want to share this type of stuff is because there's no platform there.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want people. One of the things that people fear the most, whether they know it consciously or subconsciously, in my belief, is they don't want to be diagnosed as crazy.
Yeah. That's
Right.
a big
stigma,
part of it.
and
Yeah.
you don't want to be different than everybody
Because
else.
crazy is
Yeah.
dismissive. You dismiss crazy people.
People have been killed over it, witch trials,
I was
all that
just gonna
stuff.
say, I think some of it
yeah.
is a mixture of history, like
Yeah.
our culture.
And lack of
And
understanding.
it's gotten better.
Yeah, it has
Yeah.
gotten better, and I think that we're starting to see that platform
More
immerse.
acceptance.
Yeah, and I think that is partly due to, there's a couple really cool documentaries that came out that talk about these sort of things that were on Netflix that were popular for a while. One of them I preached for a long time. I think that TikTok, as good and evil, I think it's brought a lot of things out that weren't there before, because there is more people willing to share and talk about those things. That's how I even discovered that this was an actual thing that other people were experiencing all over the world. I would have not known that if it wasn't for TikTok, because I wasn't actively searching for answers. I wasn't on the internet looking for things.
Right.
It just came to you.
Yeah.
Yes. So I think that we're starting to see one. Ghost hunting, it's always been popular, but I think now it's even more popular, because the FYP page on Friday or Saturday nights is going to be people exploring things or going to graveyards.
Right.
Wait, what's FYP? I'm sorry.
For you page, sorry.
Oh, is that a TikTok thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I don't have TikTok.
It's okay.
Well,
You
yeah.
love it.
I don't know what it is either. But
I like looking at, I'll watch videos, and but they pop up on Facebook, and then it says provided by TikTok or whatever.
well,
Yeah.
I just don't have, actually go out and look at it.
Yeah, but then with anything, you have to use a lot of skepticism too, because there are just money grabbers
Yeah,
out
there's a lot
there
of
too.
fake.
yeah, total
So you have to
bullshitters. Like,
use
I want to relate to you. Yes, I had that same experience.
Yeah,
Blah, blah,
so then I say use your intuition,
Yeah,
right? And
right.
just that doesn't seem
blah. Right.
Yeah.
real.
Yeah, that makes the actual real events get a bad rap.
Yes.
Or,
That's the problem. There's so many
right,
things.
write them off. You write them off like whatever, psychics, whatever. But then there's actually cases where, someone was right about something,
Believe it or not, they do use mediums in some cases in police work.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
there's a whole show about it, right?
Yeah, there is. But they don't talk about it, right?
Right.
Probably because
Yeah.
it's taboo.
It's not,
Right.
well, they're gonna always weigh in on science. And the
It's
thing,
factual. It's supposed to
right,
you're going to
because
Right.
I can justify it.
Right.
Well, you can see it, you
Yeah.
can touch it. and-
Right. But
yeah.
I give people this scenario. I always give them this idea. Take the dumbest person you know and put them in front of you. Like the dumbest.
Stop looking at me,
wow, you're a freaking idiot. That person, right? And now we're going to take that person, we're going to put them in a time machine and put them in 63 AD. He or she instantly becomes the smartest person on earth,
Yeah.
right? So, because of the knowledge they obtain,
Right.
So the same concept is whatever you believe in, the left side of your brain has to sign off on it. So so if you're right-handed, you're left-handed, your right brain. I know this stuff because I'm ambidextrous, so it's a freak.
My daughter is too.
I'm paranoid because ambidextrous people are likely to be schizophrenic.
Oh,
It's really-
don't tell me that.
Well, no, true ambidextrous people.
Okay.
She might be left-handed and then learn how to be taught to be right-handed.
She's always used.
But if she's using both hands,
Yeah.
1% of the world's population is truly ambidextrous, and 50% of them are schizophrenic. But most
You
people,
got a while though. I mean, it
Right.
doesn't show up until your early 20s, right?
Right.
but that's because who's the who's the genius? You got Mozart and you got Einstein and Josh.
And Josh.
Yeah.
And so they're both geniuses in their own right. It's just they're highlighting one hemisphere over the other. So left brain, scientific, calculated, analytical. Yeah,
People who are slightly on the spectrum are probably some of the smartest people I've met.
Oh, yeah.
Well, people on the spectrum, we can go into that.
Yeah.
They
They process differently. So
even like biblical statements of a child will lead them. It's a childlike mind. You have to engage God as a child.
interesting.
Or higher, or whatever we want to call it, right? So that same concept. So if I said an outrageous statement like pigs fly, pigs freaking fly, the majority of people will say, you're out of your mind. That is not true. That is not a true statement. And I'm like, no, they really do fly.
When they fall off a chute.
Right, they fly, right?
Sorry.
And no one, and everyone's like, BS, Juan, shut up. We don't want to put you in a padded room. All right? Now let's say someone like myself made that statement. You go about your day. As the week goes on, you're watching CNN or whatever news. And they're like, right now, scientists are splicing genes of piglets with birds, and you see a little piglet flying in a circle.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Right? Now the left brain has signed off on it because it's become factual, and now you can believe it. So that's what the doctrines that we have, like your books, like your Bibles, your Quran, your Kabbalah, to me is to sell a concept to you, to me that they're all the same concept. As a guy who studied all of this.
And this medium would agree with you.
Yeah, and so they're all the same deal. They're just a different approach to the same deal. It's like I said, I'm a wrestler, so that's my approach to fighting. I'm a boxer, so that's my approach to fighting. But what are we doing? Fighting. Right? So we're becoming spiritual, so I'm a Christian, so that's my approach. I'm a Muslim, I'm a Buddhist, I'm a whatever. That's my approach.
Right.
But sure, and so I get where you're going. I just think that like a lot of times, and I'll bring it back on subject. I'll really get at this. When I bring it back on subject, the platform isn't necessarily there. So I think that's why a lot of people may hold it inside.
Yeah. Yeah.
They may be like,
Well, they won't now.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to ask that question, like, when this happened to you, did you feel like you could go to anyone about it at first? Or, like, your grandma, did you feel comfort in, like, just maybe her aura? Like, I could go to her with this, and I'm not going to be laughed at, or whatever.
Yeah, with my grandmother, yes.
Yeah.
Because my grandmother is very open, and we were always taught, I don't want to get into it, we were always taught certain things when we were younger because they are very superstitious, and there were some things that occurred through things that seems like it would be fake.
Yeah.
So it was very easy for me to go to her, but when I went to my parents at the time, I think I hesitated a little bit. So my family, my parents were in the medical field. So when I did bring it to them, their immediate response was a medical perspective.
It's a brain approach.
So, but, and so that's why when I do look into things now, I kind of look at them from two sides, right?
Yeah.
Because I think that there is a want and a need for science to look into this, and they do.
Yeah.
But everything that they study is always somewhat inconclusive, or it's just a theory.
Always changes.
Right.
Yeah, it's,
and I don't think that you'll ever be able to get a definitive answer on that. Here are some possibilities because that's their job.
Right.
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 But it's interesting to see both sides of that. But you'll never ever be able to say, "Yep, it's 100% this part of your brain, and that's why that occurred." You can't have that.
I think both can exist, and you can just be open to all the
I
possibilities.
think you just need your own personal evidence.
You're right.
Well, you would have to have something like on your brain all the time, 24/7, because otherwise, like.
And they do
That's just happening,
studies of
you know what I
things,
mean?
where they put people in situations and see what part of your brain
Yeah.
lights up, and I don't know, but
Something they could do it like.
But when I got that, so when I got the response that it was where my parents were like, this is a trauma response, that's why that occurred. I kind of dropped it at that point, not because my mind was made up, but because I was getting the feeling that if I continued on with the story, people were just going to think that I was crazy.
Yeah. Right.
So I just kind of stopped at that point.
Right.
But it wasn't until later in life where I was like, hey, I really want to share these things because they're fascinating, and I think it's meant for the world to
hear it.
Yeah, or just gain, or just say that, hey, like if you had this experience, I'm certainly not going to be here to say that was fake.
Right.
But I didn't really decide to do that until I had started to see more like those documentaries.
Right. Yeah.
My husband was the hardest person to convince. and I say convince because he just was, nope, this bullshit. What is that? And I always like to use this. I think I told you this story where I have a long line of seeing shadow people too, and I think my son sees them as well. But we won't get into that today. But anyways,
I love shallow people.
right, so you know.
I really
So-
do. I'm not.
You know, and I ever since I was little, you know, this wasn't a new thing. And It's been around for a really long time. You live with it. You can either choose to acknowledge them or not acknowledge them. But I was explaining to my husband that they do exist. Anyways, he was like, no, they don't. Like, and he was just saying all this negative stuff. And out of nowhere, our bedroom door slammed shut. And he looked at me, and I said, "That is why you don't fuck with them. You don't have to acknowledge that they exist,
Yeah.
but they do in my world, and you live in my world, and
Yeah.
just don't say anything."
Right.
The doors never slammed shut again. I mean, it was such an odd. Well, it wasn't really odd to
Yeah.
me, but it was odd
Right.
for him.
Yeah.
Still can't explain it to this
I
day.
curse him out.
So he now though, since having that experience on his own, doesn't say anything negative and
Yeah.
is kind of like, okay. And then my son, like I said, I think he sees them too because he often stares at things, or he'll talk to something that's
Yeah.
not there, or he'll point to something that's not there. And so now my husband's like, okay, obviously there's something there, but he's gotten to a point where I feel like he does it to an extent where I'm like, no, like he thinks that something's
Yeah.
happening when it's not.
You
You
have
know
a
what I
dog?
mean? I do have a dog. Yeah,
It helps.
yeah.
They see them.
Sometimes I wonder that though.
I want to explain April barking.
All the time and
Yeah,
nothing.
we have
Yeah.
this mirror, and I actually think that this mirror,
Glad you said that.
this mirror came from a home where a gentleman had passed,
Oh.
and I almost wonder if there isn't a part of his spirit that's attached to that, because I often see things come and go from this mirror, and my dog does too. So, but yeah, that's another story.
We're working on the horoscope.
maybe?
Huh?
Windex and a wipe, maybe?
No.
Clean off the spirit?
I'm working on
So
a
that's part of some
horror
of my
movie
family
script about
superstitions.
mirrors.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Well, there's a reason I don't buy furniture and things at thrift stores. Because I'm like, nope.
'Cause they're
I don't
carrying
want
that
anything.
energy.
Yeah, I don't want
Yeah.
anything.
But it's not a bad. I know that I'd be able to feel that because I've felt
Yeah.
some bad energies
Yeah.
before.
But that's what I'm afraid of.
Yeah.
I don't want
Right.
to bring
There's-
bad energy in.
You
There's
can
a-
cleanse them, but it's a process a lot of
Yeah.
times. I would say this, like, for me, spirit is real, but I had that from my grandmother,
Sure.
who was raised on a reservation to like the age of 6.
Mm.
So she has a lot of old native little things. So, for example, I lived in LA for a long time. When I was contemplating coming back, me and my longest relationship girlfriend, we were discussing if we wanted to get back together. At the time, we were talking about possibly having a child. All right, and I always told her that I wanted to name, well, if I have a son, I wanted to name him after me. Blah blah blah. That's changed, but whatever.
See, that's cool.
Yeah.
It's the same.
And I just didn't think Josh Jr. sounded too.
Yeah,
Right.
but that being said, blah blah blah. Obviously, it didn't work out. Whatever. So, I go down to St. Louis. That took place in Iowa. I went down to St. Louis to visit family. Me and my brother. We go to our grandmother's house. I am the grandma's boy. I loved my grandma. Loved her to death. So, she's in her room and she hears us come in the door. So I'll be out in a second. I said, okay. You know, my brother just hanging out in the living room. Then she comes out. And, you know, she was like, you know, oh, Lord, I get your hair done, she does. And then she goes, I should tell you that I had a dream about fish last night. And I go, my brother's sitting right next to me. I go, he goes, what? I said, Grandma. She goes, I'm just saying. I'm like, him. It ain't me. He goes, what are y'all talking about? I was like, if she has a dream about fish, that means a baby's coming. Right? And he goes, man, I ain't got no baby coming. It's you. I was like, it ain't me. You have to do an activity to
MMA.
I'm just telling you how it works. Right? And my brother has
Oh, shit.
He has 6 children.
Oh God.
Yeah, gangster. Takes care of them.
Yeah.
But he had 6. His firstborn are twins.
Oh my goodness.
I told him to shut down shop for like 2-3 years. Clearly you're potent. Right? 2 for 1. I mean, yeah. So, anyways, he claims he didn't. I was like, okay, then maybe it's someone else. A few months later, I go back to LA. He calls me, we're talking on the phone. He said, hey, like time had passed. So I didn't even think about it. He said, hey, we're having I found out that Maisha's pregnant and we're gonna have a kid. I said, oh, okay. Awesome, man. I'm so excited. But I was like, right? And then he's like, well, we've been talking and we found out it's gonna be a boy and we're gonna name him after me.
Oh, wow.
So my nephew is named after me.
That's so cool.
And he has, like, I wear my hair in a mohawk, right? He naturally was born with one. My mom teases and says, your brother had your kid for you.
There's probably some truth to that.
So, to me, that's but, and I know where I'm. Okay, well, and so that's kind of like the deal. Like, that's, I mean, I was raised with that type of energy. Like, if like your nose is itching, she'll be like, someone's talking about you.
Yeah.
You know? And my youngers, I have 5 brothers, 4 sisters. Have fun with that. So my youngest of my siblings of brothers, my youngest baby brother, Sean, he has 2 sons now, but at the time he had his first son. So he's like, he goes, yeah, I'm having a kid, blah, blah, blah. So he posted on Facebook the day my nephew was born. To me, all newborns look the same. They all look the same to me. No matter what ethnicity, until the pigment kicks in, day 2 or 3, they all look the same to me. I don't, boy, girl, whatever. All newborn babies look exactly the same. So you post it, and then I don't know.
It's a baby.
It's a baby, right? So about 5 or 6 months later, he has this. He puts on a reel, you know, and my nephew's on this little pillow on the bed. And my brother's behind the camera. He's like, "What you doing, man?" Ah, and you see my little nephew go, "Ah," and he was like the cutest little baby smile. I was like, "What you doing?" Ah, and he goes, "Ah." There's just this cute little interaction between the two. So then I comment under it and I say, "He's got a lot of granddaddy energy coming off of him." And Sean, when I tell you, he does not call me. He does not. We're not on bad terms or anything like that.
Right.
He's just, we're very far removed in age.
Yep.
You know, I moved out as he was coming up, so we don't have that as a close of connection as my other siblings that are a little bit older. Anyways, 30 seconds later, he calls me. I was like, "What's up, Sean?" You know, like, you never call me anyways. And I was like, "You good?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm good." He's like, "Yeah, I just read your comment on the video." And I was like, "Yeah." He said, "Why you say that?" I was like, "That's the energy I pick up." And he's like, "That's so crazy." I'm like, "Why is that crazy? Why does it throw you off so much?" He's like, "It's just messing with my head." I'm like, "Why?" "Because they're born on the same day." And I go,
Whoa.
so I go, "Well, that answers everything I need to know."
Did you see the difference between how, like, you address it and handle it and how he was addressing and handling it? It's just a little bit different, at least from when you tell the story, because you kind of give off this, I already know, right? I already know. And you're very confident in that, where he seemed like he was a little bit more like, man, I kind of think this, but I don't really know and I don't really want to say it type thing.
Yeah, well, here, like I said, like the platform, giving the people the platform to do it, or we'll go back to the radio analogy. If anything, my goal, if I was to have an agenda, would be like, now he knows potentially there's a radio there.
But I think by you doing that, like you just said, makes it okay. By you saying that, makes it okay.
That's like you and Mitch.
Yeah.
Remember, he wouldn't have said anything to you. Just like his brother wouldn't have said, they're born on the same day. Unless that something was like, oh,
Yeah.
invitation to say it.
I mean, I have tons of stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like my family, like there's a picture of there's a meme of Thomas Shelby, if you guys ever watch Peaky Blinders.
Yeah.
Right? And my ex-girlfriend would say to me, she's like, you're like Thomas Shelby. I'm like, okay. You know, the way I think, I guess, whatever. But it's a picture of him, and he's smoking a cigarette, and there's a meme and it says, I might be the black sheep of the family, but when shit gets real, you know who to call.
Mm-hmm.
So like my aunts, my uncles, my siblings, my cousins, heck, my parents, they'll call me about certain things. Like my dad and my mom have two different practices. My dad's a chocolate Jew. My mom's a Christian, right? But I have studied,
Sure.
you know. So they'll be like, well, what did you get from this one? To me, that means this, this, and this. And I would look at this source to verify for myself if I were you, and look and check out this dictionary or Google search this part. I don't have any answers for anybody.
Right.
I just say I try that direction.
Yeah.
That works for me.
Yeah. This is not about answers,
Yeah.
really. So yeah.
It is,
I don't
but
think so.
the person that finds it is you.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying
Okay.
it's personal answers. Like
Okay. Yeah.
I'm not. My answer. What's right for me shouldn't be right for you.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, I get what you're saying.
A spiritual journey is a lonely journey.
Yeah. Yep.
That my mindset. So
Yeah.
like I don't. If you're doing what I'm doing, you're doing something wrong
Right.
in my opinion.
Yep. Nope. Right.
You shouldn't be doing. Everything that everyone is doing is exactly how I need it to work for it to work for me.
For them, yes, because then I think that personally for me ties back into your energy, your vibration, and what you put out into the universe.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
It works though for some people, right? So great. If
But
it works for you, do it.
works.
knowledge is power.
Right.
Power of knowledge.
Power of knowledge.
Segue, sort of. But yeah, like I think the more you know of possibilities, encounter like the third person syndrome, the more you can accept it, and I think the more people are accepting of those possibilities, you know, it's not so. You know, one of those subjects like we don't touch. You know?
I didn't ask you to. Have you guys ever had anything like that? The third person type situation?
No. I do know one time you were stuck in the snow, right? Well,
But
this
that was
person-
real.
Yeah, I know. I wanted to be like, well, what if it wasn't?
No, actually, was another time I was stuck in the snow as a teenager out at Marley Mall. So I had a little car that like was close to the ground, but you know how people park around here in big snowstorms, and there'd been a bad snowstorm, and everybody was driving through this like pile of snow at the end of an aisle, and I was like, oh well, there's tire marks. Everybody else is driving through. I'm gonna go through it, and I got stuck, and this was probably a real person, but like this lady came, so we couldn't get out, like our doors, we couldn't open our doors, so we couldn't push the car or anything. This lady came and was like talking through the window and telling me it's okay, you know, this guy's gonna come help you, whatever. And then she was just gone. But we're in a parking lot, so I could have just like, she could have just walked to her car and I couldn't see, you know, so I mean, but she was like a calming person, so who knows. But then like some guys came and like dug us out and whatever, so that's the only thing.
Yeah, I've never really encountered anything. I mean, I've had dreams with people who passed, you know? And your brother has had dreams about people passing, family members, right? He doesn't like to see them.
Where they already passed away?
Well, they
were in
away, right?
I
He
don't-
usually says, I'll see him in my dreams, because they usually came to
Oh,
him the night
Chris.
that they passed. Yes.
Yeah, because like he doesn't like to go see people at the hospital or like when they're sick or anything. Like he's very like doesn't like that. So
Right.
yeah, like when my grandpa Carl passed, he like me and my sister went, my mom went, my other brother was at work, but like yeah, Chris didn't want to go, and yeah,
I'm the same way. But I've had dreams where after someone's passed and they'll come see me.
Yeah, and that's what I think happens to him is like he'll see him like after that. Like I think Grandpa Byers may be the same too.
I like to refer to
Yeah.
those as encounters.
Yeah, like I don't. Yeah, and
Well,
I've
that
had
makes
that happen before too. Like in my dream, and it's felt real. Like I've been with that person, or like we've had like conversations, or like hung out or whatever. But
Yeah.
not like.
Yeah, I have too. Yeah.
But like that's a dream, you know.
Yeah, I don't
Thing
know.
or
I mean,
encounter
I don't,
or whatever.
I don't dismiss. I mean,
It's
Yeah.
whatever you want to call
Yeah.
it. I mean, yeah.
yeah.
Vision, dream.
In my sleep.
Yeah.
Well, like my uncle was a big animal lover, and so when he passed, I don't know, it was a month or so after he was cremated, we had the burial, and we were in the cemetery, and out of nowhere, this
Goose.
goose
Yeah.
just strolls on. Actually, I did spot it when we first got there, but he was way down there, and he just made his way to us, and he was just kind of like walking around us, and it was like definitely something, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't like bothering you or anything. It was just like
No.
there.
I mean, it could have been your uncle's energy using the goose's eyes.
Or my uncle in a way.
Just using the eyes to see you.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, what's crazy about that is then his daughter got married after we got together. His daughter got married, and she got married at a park, and this goose like came, like and like was just hanging out during the ceremony. Do you remember that?
Interesting.
Messages
Yeah.
come in all
I
different
remember
shapes
the
and forms.
pictures. His picture blew.
His picture was there, yeah, but like the goose like just came and kind of was hanging around there, and like yeah.
Yeah.
How special.
Yeah.
I think they come in the way
I don't
that you
disagree
recognize
with
it.
that. I think anything's possible. There's more to just this, you know. There
Yeah.
has to be. And I don't know what that is. I don't know if reincarnation. I don't know if you get an option. You know, like I want to be a guardian. You know, to.
I think it's all of the above.
I want to be
I
a
think
cat.
I think it's open ended. Like, what's that?
I said I want to be a fat cat that gets fed and can sleep all day in the sun. Like that's
No, I'm like, no, my grandmothers, they passed away 4 days apart from each other.
oh wow.
So I was at my grandmother, my dad's mom, her funeral. I was at her funeral. And then my mom called me later in the day crying, telling me that my other grandmother passed.
That's nuts.
It was in this, yeah. So I was in this like numbing period
Yeah.
for a while. I didn't even react.
Yeah.
And then when I went to my second grandmother's funeral, I just broke down, but I went into the restroom and just
Yeah.
let it all out.
Right.
Well, shortly after that, I had a dream. And we were at my mom's house. And they were sitting on the couch. And my grandmother, my dad's mom, we called her Mother. Everyone called her Mother. Mother is easily the most conservative individual you'll ever meet. Easily. Love country music. Loved it to death. That's why I know country music so well. So what I would do is, like, my dad took care of me, obviously, but he worked all the time. So in the morning, I get dropped off at Mother's house. Even though if I lived on the other side of town, we get dropped off at Mother's house. From there, I go to school. Then I come back to Mother's house after school for my bus stop. And then me and my cousin, my first cousin Chanel, who's pretty much my big sister, we're there until, I'm there till like 7:30, 8 o'clock, and then my dad will come pick me up and then take me home, watch, rinse, repeat, Monday through Friday. So I saw her all the time. Well, she was afraid of heights, so she would never fly.
Okay.
All right. She went out to California, I don't know how many times, but at least 3 to 4 of those times, she tried out to get on The Price is Right. She loved game shows.
Yeah.
So, but she never got called down. She just sat in the crowd.
Yeah.
Well, I'm seeing her in the dream, and she's got this ruby red dress on. Like, it's like made out of rubies. And she's like sitting on the side and just swinging her legs. And you can tell, she's like, Juan, it's so amazing over here. It's so fun. So, and like, I'm seeing her and I'm like, because I figured from the dream, she let loose. She finally let go. She wasn't me and Miss Conservative. She's actually letting loose. Whereas, yeah, she's partying.
Yeah.
You know, and I've learned over time that supposedly there's a party on the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, my other grandmother, the one I was extremely close to, she's telling me these little things, but in short, she was like, look after your parents. And get in touch with your uncles. And it's like, my uncles? And then no one else, just say, look after your parents and get in touch with your uncles. And I got 3 uncles still around. So my dad's, and then 2 on my mom's side. No, 2 on my dad's side, 1 on my mom's side. And so, I got in touch with all of them. But, I do believe that they come to you when you are open to them.
Yeah.
Because no one else, I told my mom to dream, and she's like, oh, well, you've always had the sight and this and all that. My mom loves this. I mean, I used to have dreams, and when I was a kid, and at my mom's church, they would ask, hey, Juan, tell your dream. And then at my dad's deal, who have no connection to each other, same thing, hey, Juan, tell those guys the dream you had. And I had so many different dreams. So I got so really good at understanding dreams and understanding what they symbolize, because dreams are just nothing. It's your own personal movie. That's the best way to look at it, in my opinion. You're the director, but it's an aspect of you that's directing. It's the only place where your subconscious truly can talk to you. So it talks through symbols.
Yeah.
So I used to give people like an idea. So like, take for example, I would show someone a picture on my phone. I say, just tell me what that picture means to you, and then what does that picture mean to you, and what that picture means to you. And then I might get from Josh, justice. I might get from Megan, revenge. I might get from you, heroic. All right? 3 different meanings for the same picture. Well, what's the picture? A Batman symbol. So image can say, or a picture can say 1,000 words.
Right.
So, that's my favorite character in all of it. But the symbol, what symbolizes. So when it's talking in a dream, someone asked me, "Oh, okay, well, can you explain my dream to me?" I'm like, I can give you the idea of how to determine what it means for you, but I can't tell you what it truly means. Only you would know. It's from you. No one else is there.
Yep.
It's just you. So like, if he's in your dream, you have to think to yourself, what does Josh mean to me? Because it's very common for a lot of guys. Like, I've been hit before in a dream, waking up like, I'm like, what was that for? Well, you went off and kissed her, and you weren't supposed to kiss her, and you have me,
happened, haven't we?
and I can't believe, and I'm like, what? I'm right here.
I did nothing.
I did nothing.
No, but like I had a dream once that he like cheated on me, and I was like mad at him like the whole day.
Oh.
Like, I didn't even do anything.
Yeah, and that happens, and like I'm saying, like, and that happens all the time. That's why I believe women are more likely to be better at clairvoyance, because your feelings lead you. And I think the goal for men and women within our lifetime, in a general sense, is he must master how to open up his heart. She has to master how to open up her mind.
Yeah.
He already has, guys, we use our minds for a lot of stuff. So, whereas, but there may not be any heart in it.
Yeah.
For women, well, I feel this way, but is that practical? I don't know. Each person's different. Each person believes, but I'm just saying, I think that's the challenge. So when you're having a dream, I'm looking at it like, okay, I can have 2 people they have the exact same dream. Let's say hypothetically, have exact same dream. Everything's the same. Nothing's wrong. They walk to a little pier, and when they get there, their mom is fishing, and she holds up a big bass. Mom's wearing the same color clothing. It's the exact same pier. The setting is the same. First question I'm going to ask that person is, what does your mother mean to you? Person A will say, my mom is my heart and soul. I love her to death. She means so much for me. She's always been supportive. She does. I wouldn't be nothing without my mother. Person B could be like, my mom neglected me as a child, then she left me, and then she left my dad, and she did this, and da-da-da-da. Yet they had the same dream. Their dreams mean two completely different things. Just off of what they're... So it's like each item and person that's in your dream, what do they mean to you? Whereas my older brother called me one day, and he goes, hey man, that's like Jermaine that was on the show.
Oh, sure.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
He goes, hey man, I had a dream. And that's how he talks to me. He goes, I had a dream about my teeth falling out. I was like, ooh. He goes, ooh. What do you mean, ooh? I was like, yeah. It's like, why are you not addressing something? He goes, what do you mean? I'm like, and then I started going into, he gave me some details. I was like, oh, yeah. And I said, yeah, you should, your subconscious is trying to get your attention. You said this is reoccurring too? This has been happening since you were a kid? I was like, oh, it's going to keep happening until you fix it.
Gotta brush those teeth better.
Yeah. Yeah, if that's happening, that's never good. Certain things, if you hear keys in your dream, if you blah, blah, and I've had the key one.
Yeah.
And then like there's flight, and then there's like what's a lucid dream versus your regular dream, what's going to the astral plane when they get all technical and stuff. I know the differences that they're trying to say, but it's roughly the same concept. It's just that lucid dreaming feels like you're not dreaming.
Right.
Well, let's have like another like complete show on dreams.
Yeah,
So that's
for sure.
so interesting.
For sure. But I mean, in closing, though, like you were saying, two people see the same thing, and one sees something different with that. Just like with the third person, one would write that off as a hallucination. One would say, no, it's actually there's something going on. I don't know what it is, and then there'd probably be another person that says, I know exactly.
Well,
what it is.
like her parents, like if it was a medical,
Right,
there was a
right.
medical explanation, and yeah,
Right, but I think the key to all this is just have an open mind,
yeah.
because there's so much mystery in this world, and you can't always explain it, or meant to really know the answers. It's just you're on the ride, and the next realm, you'll know a little bit more, maybe.
Yeah, thanks for being on, and definitely we need to have you come back. And thanks for guesting, Steph. And our show's coming anytime now. Dave gave us a candle.
It's not here, but
Oh,
not
it
here.
smells good, Dave.
Yes, it
it
does.
does smell pretty good.
It smells excellent.
Yes, they are John Wick's Candles is the brand,
that.
and
It's like masculine.
Wicks and
The wicks are interesting.
yeah,
they look like cardboard.
yeah, they lit
trees
right
or
up and went
something.
down. So, but yeah, it was beautiful scent. I think what we have here is Get to the Crappa.
what?
So yeah, they're all manly
It doesn't smell
names.
like a crapper.
Well,
John's
it's like Get to the
Wicks.
Chopper.
Oh, I don't get it.
Oh, sorry.
I didn't get it either, so
Get to the chopper.
But anyway, he's got 3 cents. This one's Get to the Crapper. And then there's one that's I'm too old for this shit. And then Yippee-ki-yay, mother farter. So that's the 3 cents.
I don't think I would want any of those, honestly.
Well, it's probably geared
based on
towards
their
men.
name.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
Get to the
John
chopper.
JohnWicks.co. That's how you say co. Co.
Not
Dot
COM.
That's it.
No.
That's another
Dot
song.
co. So check those out, and hopefully Dave will be with us next episode.
Yes.
So we'll have Megan on again eventually to talk more.
We got to get back to the shadow people at some point.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Gotta
Come back. man.
Yes, for sure.
I'll bring Steve.
I'm not a creep. I'm just
Love it.
stupid
You're just
sometimes.
stupid. I'll bring that shirt.
And of course, you can find us under the Field of Geeks umbrella,
Yes.
wherever you stream, download podcasts, YouTube, and fieldofgeeks.com. So with that said, we'll be back. I'm Josh.
I'm Juan.
I'm Megan.
I'm Steph.
Take care.